Hi everyone, this is number 1 of 16 podcasts that I'm going to be doing. One for each chapter of my book, which is now out on sale, Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids. Funnily enough, out of all of the feedback I've had so far, the best has to be from my own mother, who intercepted a book I'd posted to my brother at her address. He lives out in Tenerife, but he's come to stay with her in the UK for a few days, and she saw a parcel come for him, opened it, and she started reading it yesterday and can't put it down. So for someone who's 75 years old and believes everything the BBC tell her, I was absolutely blown away that she's enjoying it, and that's probably the best feedback I'm going to get, I think. Anyway, chapter 1 is titled, Has History Been Rewritten? So I'm just going to read you the first page or so from this. So if you are thinking of buying it, it'll give you a little bit of a taster, or perhaps a spoiler even. Anyway, here we go. The more backwards in history we go, the more advanced civilizations actually seem to be. Almost 250 years ago, just before the Great Flood of 1802 AD, there was a great reset. This plunged humanity back into the Stone Age, concealing all of the knowledge possessed at that time. This knowledge is considered today to be pseudoscience or occultist, and is linked to an empire you might not have heard of, the Tartarian Empire. Some researchers and historians propose that the Dark Ages never actually happened, and that credit has been given to the Greeks and Romans for many of the magnificent buildings we see today, therefore removing any trace of the Tartarian people. To explore this theory in more detail, first let's start with the current year, 2024. There are many great minds that believe the Vatican and their friends the Jesuits, also known as the Society of Jesus, added approximately 800 years to our timeline prior to the last reset in 1776. At exactly the same time came the founding of America. Take a look at the back of the American dollar bill and you will clearly see the words Novus Ordo Seclorum, which translates to New World Order, and the date is 1776, as well as the creation of the nefarious secret society, the Illuminati, and the introduction of maritime law. The Jesuits are considered to be an evil religious order that infiltrated the Freemasons in 1776, creating the Illuminati, which sits at the very top of the Freemasonry hierarchy. They've also infiltrated many other secret societies with the blessing and backing of the Vatican, and are behind many of the world's wars and catastrophes. To summarise the Jesuits, they can be viewed as the military division of the Roman Catholic Church. These great minds include the Russian mathematician Anatoly Fomenko, a professor at Moscow State University, well known as a topologist and a member of the Russian Academy of Sciences. He is the author of the fictitious pseudoscientific history known as New Chronology, based on the works of Russian-Soviet writer Nikolai Morozov. It is said that Albert Einstein shared the belief that at least 800 years had been added to our timeline, and shared the view that the Dark Ages never existed. Even Charles Darwin said on his deathbed that he didn't believe his own theories and was paid to create them by the Vatican. I highly recommend reading Anatoly Fomenko's book called The Issue with Chronology. However, it is only the first of 22 books that he wrote on this subject, so you may need a lot of free time or a lottery win before you can get through them all. Isaac Newton also researched the alternative timeline during his last years of his life, but his book, The Chronology of the Ancient Kingdoms Amended, was discounted by mainstream historians. The basis of their work is that there have been phantom events, dynasties and people, often repeated throughout the historical narrative we have been given. This, they claim, was done by Scaligerian chronologists such as Joseph Gallagher. Gallagher was a Jesuit and is responsible for the timeline we know today. This introduced dubious dating techniques like counting rings within a tree trunk to provide us with its age, referred to as dendrochronology. Radiocarbon dating is also under scrutiny, as It has led to archaeologists simply comparing artifacts that are discovered to similar items found previously and assuming that they are from the same period. Therefore, modern archaeology has a flaw. If the original timeline is wrong, everything else discovered after the introduction of the Scaligerian chronology will be dated incorrectly. The Scaligerian chronology was conceived in the 16th and 17th centuries and derived from the writings of the Jesuit Church. Today we believe that the foundation of this concept was created by Eusebius Pamphilus and Saint Hieronymus in the 4th century. However, the paintings we have of these men depicts them wearing costumes from the Renaissance period. Eusebius' work, The History of the Church, claims to be able to date events from Genesis in the Old Testament right up to the Nicene Council of 325 AD. However, it wasn't actually published until 1544 AD. This book also raised the question of whether the Old Testament was written before or after the New Testament. This was partly because it contained dates and events that are based purely upon the works of another chronologist, James Ussher, who based his timeline upon the Bible. In fact, he claimed that the world was created on Sunday, the 23rd of October, 4004 BC. So there you go, just a little snippet for you from my book. You can buy a signed copy from me directly. My details will be in the post below, and you can also get it on Amazon, and the ebook is now available too. So if you're not old school like me, you'd rather read it on a tablet or iPad, you can now do that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope you found the first few paragraphs interesting. If you've got any questions, email, comment below, and I'll try to reply as best I can. Thanks again, and if you have already bought a copy, thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated. Bye for now.